and welcome to my channel. My name is Jazzy RN. I have been a remote utilization review nurse for over 9 years, and I have worked for 3 different companies, and the goal of my channel is to help nurses pivot from the bedside to remote work. So this first job position is with Swift Medical. It is a clinical implementation specialist, and I want you to be bilingual, both English and Spanish. It has only had 9 applicants. It was posted 4 days ago. So this job, you want to focus on your tech skills as a nurse. So you're great at your bedside skills. You want to also promote your tech skills. So as always, the first thing I look at is the qualifications of the job. They want you to be an RN or LPN. They want you to have English and Spanish fluency. You want to promote your bedside experience with your understanding of clinical workflows. So you want to tweak your resume, and you don't want to always just focus on the task at the bedside, but what you've done and why it's important, as well as how it relates to, for this job position, clinical workflows or technology, clinical application, implementation. I would just suggest to use a little bit of ChatGPT/Perplexity AI to help you with your resume to promote yourself as a tech-driven nurse. I do want to also point out this job does include travel. It's 10 to 15% for on-site implementations, industry events, and professional development. And you must be also flexible to work extended or off hours as needed to support client go-lives and critical implementation milestones. And they want to make sure you are eligible to work in the U.S. without future sponsorship. They like for you to have, nice to haves, is project management tools, which is Smartsheet, experience in using CRM, which is HubSpot and Salesforce. Now, CRM is a customer relation management platform. I think I'm saying that correctly. But using Epic or Cerner, Protouch, etc., those are also platforms that are customer driven as well, because your patients are customers. Now, these 3 bullet points here are more geared towards technology and tech support. So I would just suggest to tweak your resume to where you're pushing your tech skills as a nurse. And this gets you more information about the job regarding your first 90 days, so on and so forth. Then your 60 days and 90 days. We'll scroll back to the top, and this is what you'll be doing at the job. So I would suggest whenever if you are so fortunate enough to get an interview for this job, to look at the job functions, what you'll be doing, and base these functions on what questions you'll ask at the interview, as well as research the company. Now, Swift Medical may be a newer company. It doesn't seem like it's more focused on patient care, but it's more patient technology. The next job is with HealthSnap, and they are looking for a care navigator with a New York license is required. This was posted 5 days ago, and only 16 people applied. So I'm going to go first to the qualifications. They want you to be a New York nursing license required. Additional compact license also is preferred. So here they say they want you to be an LPN. They want you to have a current, valid, and good standing multi-state compact license is preferred. It doesn't say required. They want you to have 3 years experience in cardiology. That's preferred. Or primary care practice, home care or chronic care management. They want you to have experience in remote monitoring and our virtual care management programs preferred. Now, remote monitoring, that's basically like, let's say if you are in one place and your patient is in some other place and you're monitoring remotely. So you're basically monitoring your patients remotely whenever let's say the patient has a call light. That's remote monitoring. That's real remote monitoring. Let's say the patient is calling you because they will have a question or need some help from you or want a pain medication. That is remote monitoring. So you already have remote monitoring experience. You must have a HIPAA compliant area to work remotely. That just basically means whatever room you're working in your home, you have a door that can lock. They don't want you to have people coming into your room seeing your patient information, because this is private information for the patient. Employee must have a distraction-free work environment, and they must provide internet of 100 megabits per second download and minimum of 10 megabits per second upload. Now, most companies, they do require a certain speed for your internet service. They will provide a website address for you to do the speed check. Now back up to the requirements or duties. So they want you to have high level of computer literacy and comfortable learning and using digital health portals. So if you already know Epic, Cerner, any kind of hospital platform or software, you already have high computer literacy. Especially so if you know Cerner. Cerner is very difficult. I have used Epic in the hospital, and I've used Cerner and Epic as a remote nurse. Cerner is very difficult to understand and look for clinicals. So if you have Cerner experience, you're a shoo-in for high level of computer literacy. Conducts virtual consultations with patients, focusing on patient education for lifestyle and behavior as it relates to clinical status. You already do this in person with the patients. Letting the patient know about their medication regimen to stay compliant with the medications, wound care dressing, how to change your wounds, their wound care, so on and so forth. So you have this experience as it is already at the bedside. Patient load assigned based on practice need, so on and so forth. So just make sure that if you are fortunate enough to get an interview for this job, look at the job duties and responsibilities and determine what questions you should ask. Make sure the questions you ask are directly related to these job duties. I also want to include, I have a list of over 70 companies on this website. It's called the Cure to Bedside Burnout. And most of these companies are based in the United States, and they are for nurses who live in the United States. But there are some companies on this website that hires nurses who live in the Philippines. And these Philippine nurses have a nurse license in the United States. They have passed the NCLEX. And these companies do allow these nurses in the Philippines to work for American companies. Sometimes they're doing remote patient monitoring, which is RPM. Sometimes these nurses are actually creating authorizations for members, let's say in a Medicare, Medicaid marketplace for those lines of businesses, so on and so forth. I do want to point out there's one company in particular you want to avoid applying to directly, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit faster. I do want to apologize. Sometimes the screen does get fuzzy and then back to being clear again. The name of this company is called Lensa. So whenever you see Lensa posting a job, they post many jobs online. You don't want to apply directly to Lensa. Just look for the job, look at the job listing and find the company's name, and then apply directly to the employers instead. So let's say if it's United Healthcare is the job that's actually being posted by Lensa, just go to the United Healthcare's website or go to their LinkedIn presence for United Healthcare and apply that way directly. This company is called Happy Vitals, and they are hiring a remote CNA, certified nurse assistant or medical assistant. This company is based in Beverly Hills, California. So this CNA position that is remote, they require you to have 2 years experience at the bedside and a minimum level of education as a certificate. So we're going to go to the requirements of the job first, make sure you meet the requirements. So you must have a certified nurse assistant or certified registered medical assistant certification. You must have 1 to 2 years experience in healthcare. RPM is remote patient monitoring. CCM is chronic care management. Primary care, home health, or similar is preferred. Experience working in electronic health records systems. Now the EHR, that is your Epic, Cerner, Meditech, Protouch, etc. They want you to have strong written and verbal communication skills, high attention to detail, and ability to manage multiple priorities, and bilingual is a plus. And if you are so fortunate enough to get an interview with this company, the first thing you want to look at is the job duties or responsibilities to ask questions regarding the job. So this job for Happy Vitals, the remote CNA, you will be reviewing daily remote patient monitoring data through platforms. I would ask questions regarding what patient data is being monitored. Are you monitoring their vitals? So for example, my dad, when he was alive, he had an LVAD, that's a left ventricular assist device. Now his insurance company provided him with an iPad, and he would enter the settings of his LVAD into the iPad every day. He also had an INR machine to check his blood, and that would go straight to his cardiologist. He also had a Bluetooth scale that he would weigh himself every day. So all this information was being entered into the iPad, either via Bluetooth or manually entered into the iPad, and would be sent over to his cardiologist. So I would just suggest that whatever questions you ask regarding remote patient monitoring, you would ask what information will be monitoring. Would it be patients regarding, let's say they do have an LVAD, maybe the patient has heart failure and they have a device to where they have to enter their daily weights every day, so on and so forth. Identify abnormal readings based on established protocols. So those abnormal readings would be maybe their blood pressure is too high or too low, maybe they're getting their blood sugar checked several times a day and it goes straight to your platform or your software. You're actually monitoring that as well. So there could be multiple different things that are being monitored through their platform. And then you would escalate findings to the supervising RN according to workflow guidelines. So just make sure that if you are so fortunate enough to get an interview with this company, that you ask questions related to the job duties itself. And as always, I always want to mention that whenever you do create your resume, make sure your resume focuses on what you did, why it was important, and how it relates to the job that you want.